Welcome back, everybody. We are moving through the avatar section of the course here. We're going to clean up a couple of random avatar related things in our code. No big features here, but a lot of tweaks that will really help make our code base just a little bit better. This is related to the avatars, and I want to just get this done before we move on to the chats. So firstly, in the last video, we created in our avatar manager, we created a add recent avatar. So we go and we save the avatar to the local Swift data persistence. And that's great for our recent avatars. So now these recent avatars are saved on the current user's device. So each user is going to have different recent avatars here. And that's going to be device specific. We're doing that on purpose. And it's working exactly as we expected. What we're going to do is, as we add recent avatar, we're also going to increment a value in our database. So this way we can also track in the database which avatars have had the most clicks. Because this recent is really just every time somebody clicks on any avatar, we add a recent. So really it's keeping track of how many times people click and open up a chat with that avatar. Let's jump into our remote avatar data service. And in here, let's create a func called increment avatar. We'll call it the avatar click count. So it's really just anytime somebody clicks on it, click count. We'll pass in the avatar ID of type string. This will be asynchronous and this will throw. Let's go ahead and update our services now. So we have a mock avatar service in which we should be able to just increment and do nothing. And let's go to our Firebase avatar service. And down here at the bottom, we're going to create a increment. And what we're going to do is update the avatar data. So we did a update function in, I guess, one of the other data services, but we'll try await collection dot document. We'll go to the avatar ID. That's the right document. And then we will update data. And we are going to touch the fields here. So what fields are we going to touch? We actually don't have these yet. Let's go ahead and open up a second editor. And on the right, I'm going to go into the avatar model. And inside the avatar model, let's just create an integer. We'll call this the click count of type int. We'll make it optional in case there is none yet. Let's go ahead and update our initializers. So click count of type int equals nil. Self.clickCount equals click count. We'll create a coding key for case of click count equals click count. We don't really need to update our mocks right now, but we could. Let's do click count here of 10. And I guess it'll just be quick and easy. We'll do 10, we'll do 5, we'll do 100, and then maybe 50. Doesn't really matter. And then lastly, remember we created that one-to-one for avatar model to the avatar entity. And so in here, let's also add a click count of type integer, optional, and we'll set self.clickCount equals the model.clickCount. Here we'll convert back to the click count. All right, so in our update function here, let's go ahead and call avatar model. Coding keys click count raw value. Let's call field value increment. And we're going to add it by 1 every time we call this function. And I think we have to cast this as a int 64. And there we go. So field value increment just means whatever is the existing value in the database, add it by 1. Let's go ahead and call this now from our avatar manager. Down here at the bottom, or actually we can do it from within add recent avatar. Let's also just try remote.increment avatar click count by avatar.id. Try await. So now this needs to be async throws. Let's Command R to build and compile. This should throw us a compiler error that we'll have to fix. Let's just try await here. Again, I don't really care if it fails because it's not that critical to my application. All right, let's go ahead and Command R to build and run it. And I will open up my database here so that we check it out. Now, every time we click on one of these, we should see a document update in the database here. All right, Joseph. Let's see which one Joseph is here. I'm going to filter on the database. Let's look for the name. And I should find Joseph somewhere. All right, now if I click Joseph, we should see click count go up. And every time I click into him, we should increment on the database one more. Awesome. I'll do one for Bella. I'll do one for Emily. Let's do 2 for Emily. Now let's jump into our code base. Let's go to the avatar Firebase avatar service. Let's go to our get popular avatars. So now we are fetching 200, but let's first sort them on the database by click count. So the most popular ones are going to be the ones with the highest click count. Now let's remember this is going to be slightly different from our recents. Our recents are going to be what is the most recent one that the current user just clicked. So it's only based on the current user's data. This is now going to be every single user across the database is incrementing that count. So now this is going to be the most popular across all of my users across my entire application. Go ahead here and order by, and I will option enter. And this by is the field that we want to sort by. So again, we're going to use the type safe coding keys. So we're going to do code avatar model.coding keys.click count. And we'll make descending of true. So we start at the top. And now let's command R to build and run. Sorry, click count.raw value. Command R to clean and rebuild. And now Joseph was the one that had the most. So we can see that at the top here. So these will be my most popular. When we do this ordering in Firebase, it is important to know that if something has a nil value, it will not return in this sorting. So there's a bunch of avatars here that have nil values and didn't pull through our popular. But that's okay for now. For example, if I click on Olivia, right now Olivia is not here. But if I click on Olivia, she should have one now. If I restart the app and refetch that popular, we should now see Olivia here with 1. Bella and Olivia probably both have 1, and that's why Olivia is before Bella. Great. Lastly, when we actually create a new avatar, let's go to our create avatar view. When we create a new avatar, we'll just say the click count, we'll set it equal to 0 so that hopefully the new ones don't have that nil value, even though having that nil value is really not that bad. This is cool. We have an actual popular feature set up in our app. All right, next let's go and make a couple more avatars. So I'm going to jump to the profile. Let's go ahead and so we can see all these avatars that don't have any click count yet. Let's make a new avatar. I'm going to call this Jimbo. Jimbo is going to be an alien that is eating in the forest. Let's generate this one. And that looks like a grasshopper. So let's try to maybe generate one more. And these definitely do not look like aliens. Maybe we'll change eating to smiling. And hopefully we get something better than a frog. All right, that works for me. Let's go ahead and save it. Cool. And we should now see Jimbo here, but I don't see Jimbo in my avatars. So we have a bug in our app. Let's jump to our profile view. And let's go ahead and we load the data every time this screen appears. So if I click away from it and then click back, hopefully we now fetch Jimbo. There he is. But we want that to automatically load when we actually just close this screen. So luckily these sheets here, so the sheet and the full screen cover, the modifier actually has a onDismiss method. The reason that these modifiers have onDismiss built in is because the appear does not trigger when you dismiss these. So normally if you push forward into a chat and you come back, onAppear is going to trigger when you push backwards. But full screen covers and sheets are displaying on top of the current context. So this screen behind it, when I click this open, is actually still rendered on the screen and it's not disappearing. Whereas here, if I click forward, the first screen actually does technically disappear. So that's why when we have sheets, we actually have a built-in onDismiss method here. Let's go ahead and do the is presented with onDismiss. Let's bind to it. I'll click enter onDismiss, and on the content, I'll put the content here And now just when we do dismiss, let's also again load data. So real simple, I'll call a task here and we'll say await load data. Lastly, I want to make sure that the newer items are at the top. So when we are fetching get avatars for author ID, let's jump in here, jump to the Firebase avatar service. Let's filter on the avatars for the author, and then let's also call .order by, and we'll sort them in order as well by the date created field. Descending will be true, meaning the most recent dates with the highest numbers will be first. We should note now that this here is two different predicates on the Firebase database. So we could have done this sorting in code ourselves for sure, but it's faster to do it on the database. However, when we have two different predicates combined, so either two wheres or two orders or a where plus an order, then we actually need to set up that query on the Firebase database. So if I go ahead and build and run this quick, and I go to the screen, we're going to get a printout here that this query failed because it requires an index. And this basically means that Firebase just wants to add an index on top of the database so that when we do this complex query, it's already set up to do it really quickly. And this is actually a really powerful feature behind the scenes that just comes with Firebase. All we have to do is copy this link here and open it up in a browser. So in your browser, it should bring you right into your Firebase project. And then all you need to do is click save. So this is a query for the author ID plus the date created. Let's go ahead and click save. There is a limited amount of indexes you can add, but I've never hit that requirement. You can also just delete them if you no longer need them. This will take maybe 3 to 5 minutes to build, but once it's done, let's go ahead and rerun the app. And just while we're waiting for that, we absolutely could have, instead of doing this, since we're fetching all these avatars anyway, we could have just on the device sorted it ourselves. We could say sorted, and we can say sorted by, and then we'll do $0 dot date created, otherwise distant past is greater than $1 dot date created, otherwise distant past. So this is literally going to do the exact same thing as this, except this is us sorting it on the device. This is Firebase sorting it on the server. For this case right now, this is probably the smarter approach, doing it on the device, because we're going to fetch all of the documents anyway. But you could imagine if you had a situation in your code where there was 10,000 items or 1,000 items in the database, right? And you wanted to get the first maybe 50 of them. Well, you could sort them on the server and then get the first 50 based on that sorting pre-sorted. So there's definitely a use case for doing this, but there's also a use case for doing it on the device. Right now, I am just doing it on the server because I want it to be an example for you guys to know how to do it. My status here is now enabled. So if I go and I click away and I click back, it should now work. And we got Jimbo popped up, our most recent avatar. Let's go ahead and build one more new one. Let's call this one Jessica. Jessica will also be an alien. Maybe she is smiling in the city. Let's generate this one. And hopefully when I click save now, then the profile screen automatically updates. That is a bad picture, and I'll do one more. I probably should have done a different API, but this API is really good for the text when we get into the text part of the course. That does not look like Jessica. I will change this to a dog. That looks good enough to me. Let's save it, and bang, screen updated. That looks awesome. I'm going to restart my app quick. And we should see here now that our new avatars are actually populating in here. Because we set that click count to 0 at the beginning, Jessica is coming in at my popular, but she's the least popular, obviously, because she's down here. Cool. And the last thing I'm going to do here is this categories screen. So way back when we set up this categories screen, we'll go to the Explore view. And right now the categories are using the image name from the popular avatars array. So you can see here that the picture of Emily is the same picture as the category. In my real app, I would probably create specific images for these category titles, but I don't want to deal with that now. But what we are going to do is basically right now, the category image is the first image of a popular avatar that matches that option. Let's just change it to last. So this way, if we have a whole lot of popular avatars, the category ends up being an image that is closer to the bottom. So if I build and run it now, I think that we will see just maybe Emily won't appear twice at the top there, and that might look like a better user experience. Cool. That is all for this video. We're going to do one more video next with a little bit more polish, but it's going to be some other cool stuff, a little less avatar related. Let's end this video with Option Command C. We'll make this a feature. We'll call this the add avatar click count. Let's stage it. Let's commit it. Push it on up to GitHub, and I'll see y'all in the next video.